Hi everybody, it's Icy. Welcome back. I hope everyone is having a great day. We did actually finally get some sun here, but you know what? It's freezing. This morning I actually woke up to 46 degrees and I live in Southern California. But nonetheless, it was refreshing and it got me going with my day. All right, so today what I want to do is I want to continue my discussion from yesterday and talk about effective goal setting. Specifically, I'm going to discuss my 7 rules of effective goal setting. So let me start by asking you this question. How much progress did you make on your business last year? What I mean by that is exactly what percentile did you grow or actually did you miss your mark? I mean, if you're not sure, that's okay. But then let me ask you, are you measuring your progress against a predetermined standard, such as your own personal goals? Now, if you answer yes, that's fantastic. But if on the other hand, this is a sore subject because you don't have specific goals yet, or you simply have trouble accomplishing them, then this video is for you. Because in this video, you're about to learn a few tips and battle-tested tricks about the process of goal setting. Now keep in mind that none of these tactics are new or unique. They're simply a combination of everything I've read and studied about this topic over the years. And I think these timeless tools for achieving success will help you get on track faster than anything else I could share with you today. So let's begin. Why are written goals essential? You may or may not know that in 1953, Yale's class of 1933 was surveyed and interviewed after 20 years in their careers. Now, the results of this survey showed that 3% of these graduates were making more money than the other 97% combined. The primary difference? The 3% had written goals. Now, we're talking Yale grads here. They were certainly all smart, dedicated, and hardworking. And yet, the difference in their results is massive. Now, there was another study done of Harvard Business School graduates of 1979. That study showed that at graduation, 87% of the class had no goals at all. Certainly, all of those bright, ambitious people had big plans for themselves, right? But they hadn't clearly articulated them, even to themselves. And that left 13% of the class with goals, and only 3% had clearly written goals and a plan of action. So 10 years later, in 1989, this class was surveyed again, and the results showed that the 13% who had goals, on average, were making twice as much money as the 84% who did not. But what's even more incredible is that the 3% who had written goals, well, on average, they were making 10 times as much money as the other 97% combined too. So the point I'm trying to make with these statistics is that the mere act of setting a goal and writing it down greatly increases the odds of success in your favor. So here's your first takeaway from this video. If you have a goal and you want to achieve it, write it down. Now, before I talk about my 7 specific rules for goal setting, I want to talk about the 6 reasons why people don't write down their goals, because I think this is equally important. See, we've all heard that you should be setting goals and having a plan of action, yet most people don't. They set their New Year's resolutions, then deviate from the plan and the whole process of goal setting. So why is that? Well, it's due to one or more of these 6 blocks. The first one, why people don't have written goals, is because they want to avoid responsibility. See, when you set a goal and you write it down, you're making a firm commitment. It makes you responsible for your success or failure. And the reality is that most people just don't want to take that responsibility, whether they want to admit that or not. You know, it's easy to claim responsibility for success once you've achieved it. But when you fail, very few people want to take responsibility for their failure. So if you never write the goals down, well, you avoid the responsibility. Number 2, fear of criticism. As adults, we develop mental blocks about being criticized by society and other people. So we just never set goals because we want to avoid criticism. But, once you see the potential you sacrifice because of this fear, it seems somewhat between silly and tragic to miss out on so much because of it, really. The third thing, lack of knowledge. People don't have written goals and don't set goals in general because they don't know how. Now, as silly as that sounds, it's true. They just don't understand how to do it. Now, if you're in that group, stick around because we're going to talk about the steps to goal setting in a few minutes. Lack of faith is number 4. If you haven't seen goal setting modeled, you probably don't think the process works. Now, if you were lucky enough, like me, to grow up in a home where goal setting was talked about and encouraged, then you're one of the lucky ones who knows the importance of setting goals. But honestly, most people didn't grow up in that environment. They just didn't grow up with this whole notion that you need to be setting and hitting goals on a regular basis. Number 5 is the curse of early success. If you experience success with certain things in life early on, without much effort, well, you may think that you can ride on the wave of that success without really setting goals. Now, I can tell you from personal experience, you're truly setting yourself up for failure if you act that way and believe that way. Finally, number 6, the fear of failure. Most people are afraid to fail, terrified. And this is one of the 2 biggest fears that are holding people back from going forward. The other one being rejection. Now, here's how this one works. When you set a goal and you don't believe you're going to hit it, you create a chance of failure. So in order to avoid risking that failure, it's easier to not set the goal in the first place. And I know it sounds silly, but it's this thought process and self-sabotage that can actually prevent you from setting a goal. Just understand and realize that those are the things that could be holding you back. They are what they are. So if you want to achieve something, if you want to go for it and achieve greatness, then you got to get past those blocks and not be afraid of rejection or failure and just start setting your goals. So now let's talk about my 7 specific rules that I really think will help you have meaningful goals and make sure that you achieve them. And I'm assuming here that you already have some idea of your goals. So hopefully that's the case, and let's go. Let's dive in. Now the first one, it's the easiest thing you can do. Simply write down your goals. Now that doesn't mean you're going to achieve them, but I would strongly encourage you not to skip this step. Looking back to the studies I spoke about regarding Yale and Harvard grads, the evidence for writing down goals is clear. There are actually neurological and psychological reasons why this works for you to be a successful entrepreneur. Just the mere act of writing it down makes an imprint in your subconscious mind. When you write down what you want, if you've ever done it, then you know you'll feel an instant boost in energy and enthusiasm. If you do this over and over again on a regular basis, you're going to give yourself this ongoing boost in energy. That energy is really what you need to accomplish your goals and to take action on a daily basis. Because when you lack that energy, you don't want to take action. But the mere act of writing down goals gives you that energy. So please, don't skip this step. Rule number 2, be specific. You need to be crystal clear about what you want. It's not enough to just say you want more money, because that's what everybody says. People say they want more money or they want to lose weight or whatever their goal is, but that's not concrete. Let's say, for example, you made $60,000 last year. Well, you know what? $61,000 is more than $60,000. Well, is that going to get you excited? You made $1,000 more this year than you did last year, but you're not going to get excited. It's the same with, you're 30 pounds overweight and you lose a couple of pounds, okay? Well, that's still losing weight, but it's not going to make a whole lot of difference in your health and your physical appearance. So you want to be very specific. Now, here's another personal example from me. So I've only lived in California for the past couple of years. And before that, I lived my whole life on the East Coast. Now, to top everything off, I recently just moved to a new area here in California. So I'm really not yet familiar with my surroundings, and I use my GPS. But my GPS will not get me to where I want to go unless I give it very specific address. The goal-setting mechanism in your head, your subconscious mind, is a goal-seeking device. Unless you give it very specific, clear instructions, like an address or a specific goal, it's not going to know exactly what to do. You've got to be crystal clear. And I'm emphasizing this point because often people say, well, I just want to have a good year. But that's not good enough. You know, if you look at Fortune 500 companies or any big company, they have very specific sales and revenue goals that they want to hit. They don't just start the year with the CEO getting in front of the board of directors and saying, you know what, we're hoping for a good year. We want to make more money this year than last year. I mean, can you imagine that? No. They have very specific goals. You've got to treat your goals the same way because you're the CEO of your business and your life. Now, despite the self-help teachers who say, think big, don't put any limits on your thinking, I'm here to set some limits, which brings me to number 3. To be a successful entrepreneur, your goals have got to be realistic. Now, here's what I mean. So let's say you're making $60,000 and you set a goal of making $1 million. I mean, that's a great long-term goal to shoot for, but it's very, very unlikely that you're going to go from $60,000 to $1 million in 12 months. It's possible, yes, but for most people, it's not very realistic. Set that instead as a longer-term goal, but be more realistic about what you can accomplish in the short run, like going from 60,000 to 100,000 or even to 200,000. This is very realistic depending on your set of skills and the resources that you have available. And to go with another example, if you want to make $100,000 a year and you have no marketing skills, very limited resources, and little money to invest in advertising, while it's technically possible, the reality is that it's going to take some time to get there. You're simply not going to go from 0 to $100,000 with no resources and no marketing skills in just a few months or maybe even a year. It's just not going to happen in the short term like a lot of people are hoping for. Now, if you have, let's say, $20,000 at your disposal, it will be a lot more realistic to hit that's the 6 figures online because now you have more resources. You can invest a bit more money in your advertising so you can get there more quickly. What I'm saying is this. Your short-term goals need to be congruent with the skills and resources at your disposal. Because if they're not, what's going to happen is you're basically setting yourself up for failure. Then you're going to become discouraged and say goal setting doesn't work, and you're not going to take action. The whole point of goal setting is just not to get you excited. It's to give you stepping stones to accomplish your bigger, longer-term goals. The worst thing you can do is to set a short-term goal that's so out of reach that it's just going to demotivate you. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying to limit yourself to be a successful entrepreneur. I think it's perfectly fine to have a huge 3 or 5 and 10-year goals. But reverse engineer those and say, what do I have to accomplish on a short term in the next 12 months, 6 months, and 3 months? Make it very realistic so that you can get excited and you can get your belief level up about your goals. Like Bill Gates said, people overestimate what can be done in 1 year and underestimate what can be done in 10. All right, number 4. Create a plan of action with a deadline. A lot of people say they're going to accomplish a goal, but then they have no clue exactly how they're going to do it and no deadline to keep them on track. As you've probably heard, a goal without a deadline and a clear plan is nothing but a wish. Make sure that you have a plan of action that you need to take on a daily basis and specific deadline of when you want to accomplish that short-term goal. We've already talked about creating realistic short-term goals, but now it's time to think big by setting big long-term goals that energize and motivate you. So number 6, what motivates you? Is it doubling your income? Or maybe it's making $1 million a year and creating true financial freedom. Well, whatever it is, create your vision and create the big goals to match it. They'll keep you excited. They'll give you the drive to do the things you need to do now because of the promise of the future. So number 6, know your why. Goals without meaning will not keep you energized. You may think that $1 million or whatever amount of money that you want will keep you excited. It will, but only for a short period of time, because the reality is that it's not the money that you want. It's what the money can do for you and for the people in your life that's going to keep you excited and motivated to move forward. So if you want to lose weight, it's not really the weight loss that you want. It's what being in good shape and looking healthy will do for your life. You need to get clear about why you want to achieve those goals and think about the reasons very often, actually on a daily basis. And finally, the most important part in my goal setting strategies is number 7, taking action. Because without taking action, nothing will happen. And this is where the rubber meets the road. Because you can have written goals, deadlines, your plan of action, all of your whys, and everything in order. But until you actually take action, nothing will happen. So set big goals, think big, dream big, and then of course, take action. So what goals really matter to be a successful entrepreneur? What are the actions you need to take to move your business forward, which you can commit to, execute on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis? Well, I have good news. There are only 2 things you must focus on to build a successful online business. These 2 things are where you need to focus when you're setting your goals. The first one, traffic. You must do something to drive traffic consistently, whether it's advertising on Facebook, creating YouTube videos, or sharing blog posts on social media. You must drive traffic consistently to grow your business. Secondly, sales. You've got to do something that can actually trigger a conversion, because you can get all the traffic in the world, but if you're not making sales, it's all for no reason. So how about writing a follow-up email? Connecting with the people in your pipeline, or setting up Facebook ads to your offer. These are the things that most people simply don't do, at least not on a regular basis. Yet these actions are exactly what's going to move your business forward, growing your revenue and your income. That's it. So let me make a suggestion. If you'd like a proven shortcut to quickly grow your mailing with eager readers, then I strongly recommend signing up for my free 10-day online recruiting bootcamp. It's free, and in it, you'll get the skills and strategies to attract people who are already interested in what you have to offer. So you won't have to pressure, nag, or chase down anybody to sell them anything, ever. You'll discover specific proven actions to take that will help you attract a steady stream of leads online and grow your business fast by getting people to reach out to you. So if you're ready to get started, click on the link above this video to access my free 10-day online recruiting bootcamp today. I hope this video was of some value to you. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Take care.